Welcome to this Perceptive Readers Podcast. Hi, I'm James Lynch. Hello everyone and welcome to the Perceptive Readers. I'm James Lynch. And the topic that we're going to pick up on is still Spiritual Warfare Part 2. This will be the conclusion to this series because we talked about it a week ago on the person of Job. We covered Job chapter 2. I discussed that and I encouraged you to really read Job chapter 2. Read chapter 1 as well so you can get background and even see Job's outlook, his motive for doing things. Just a very pure motive. Many of you will gather and probably use the word as well, a wholesome motive as well, so you can see why when that conversation, and that's, where I really focused in on a conversation that was had in heaven between the true God and his, envious, enemy, very cruel enemy. In case you're wondering who, that's Satan or the devil. Okay. And, I brought out some things, which really involve, Job, his family, his, friends. And that word was used very loosely, you see. So I'm just encouraging you, if you really want to get the background, just do the search of, spiritual warfare. On the PopBooks.com website, or you can go to the Perceptive Readers Podcast on SoundCloud, you see, and, you'll find it's before, even listening to this podcast, which I encourage you, to do. I also gave some, preliminary statements, as I've said before, and I'll say it again. There are ones who are tasked and charged with making things brighter. Like if brighter light comes some type of new understanding that wasn't there before or what have you. They make those types of decisions. As far as for myself and just my personal study, that's why certain things I won't relate, even if I'm thinking about it in a new way. I just relate what is generally known the world over, from people who do study the Bible. And I even gave you a reference point website that you could go to learn more. See, on this one, I'm going to be using a different translation for reading. And after you have read and seen all the horrendous things that God's enemy did to a man who loved God, loved his family, and loved people, now you're going to see what the end result of all of that, that trial that Job went through, betrayal, if you want to look at it in this sense, of persons that he had worked with, for years and things of that nature. But you're going to see now the end result and what God noticed, because throughout the book of Job, there were different statements being made by different ones. And in the end of these statements that were going on in conversations, God then spoke. And he spoke to Job. And he gave Job question after question after question, you see, to see if Job could answer those questions. You're going to see now what the result was when Job gave considerable thought to those questions and how he responded. Then after that, you're also going to see how God responded to Job as well. And even the way he viewed the ones who were even making life more harder on Job as well, too, you see. Before I go into this reading, I want you to know that the book of Job does have bearing for each and every human being on the face of this earth today. I stated in the spiritual warfare, part 1, basically letting you know that, hey, no matter what basically a person believes or what have you, this is the warfare that is going on in the heavenly realm. And there's still a lot more to it that people can't even see going on today. Now, the reason why I share these things with you, because make no mistake about it, there are people like myself, and others all around the world, I'm sure, that, we are seeing at times people who mean a lot to us hurting, crying, and things of that nature. And we know at the very least, all we can do is just really say a kind word and probably even give a hug, you see. But we know that we're limited, you see, especially with dealing with these spirit creatures at times, exactly what we can do. But you can always still pray for strength to bear up under the cruel treatment at times, the injustices, the unfairness of life. And I want to tell you something else too, because, people talk about being blessed and things of that nature. And sometimes it's as if the person had never been blessed the way that they say it. And you can see from Job, Job was already blessed. And that's why this envious creature wanted to attack him so bad. He was already blessed. And so he really took him during this certain time period away from his blessing that he already had, and was showing he was living up to already the, what is it? When the results, it's a better word for it when you have, been blessed or you receive something good, and then the output, I don't want to think like a computer here, but it's like the results. And I wanted another word of it. You end up showing, hey, you benefited. Yeah. From the blessing. And that's what happens with certain people. Now, when we left off, see, after God's enemy did all those bad things to Job, Job was in such a pitiful state. I mean, hurting, physical wise, you see, medical conditions. Don't you know things were so bad by this, demon touched illness, you see. This was not, something regular here that Job just picked up, what have you. No, he was inflicted with this on purpose by that, demon, God's enemy. And so it was ravaging his body with boils and everything else. It affected everything about him, even internally, you see. He was hurting real bad. So it was at that point in Job's life, see, he was not able to walk around freely no more. He wouldn't have been able to, judge at the gate anymore. Remember, financially, he was messed up there too, devastated there too. So it was like this evil creature, took away his blessing, at least in the physical sense. But spiritually, Job knew he still had his faith and relationship in God, you see. And so he wouldn't curse God and say bad things about God just because all these bad things were happening to him. And at this point, as I told you before, Job probably even thought, he wasn't going to even live too much longer anyway, from the disease and everything else. So with that being said, now we're going to get right back into, if God has blessed you before and you're going through something right now, is he going to bless you again? And I want you to notice just how well God blesses a person, how God honors a person. I really want you to pick that up as well too, because this is a side thought. Remember why, when we talk about dignity and things of that nature, there are times you do single out a person for different reasons to honor them, you see, to bestow your blessing, if you will. And that is nothing wrong with that. And I want to really emphasize that to you, because you remember I made that little joke maybe a few weeks ago about, there are some persons that it seems like if they could monopolize kindness, they would. And you all know what I'm talking about. So the point is, there's a time to, speak to a group of people and say kudos. And then there's also a time where you may want to single somebody out. It doesn't mean you're worshiping them or anything of that nature. See, there's things that you continue to learn as you read the Bible. You're able to learn and do these things in a, keyword, balanced way. And that's one of the things that you can see is lost many times in the world. And that's why so many people sometimes don't even get what they need, where you can see one person, they'll give, different people give the kudos, the currency and things of that nature. I know this is the different level, just because of who they are or family or what have you, while you have this other person over here that on so many levels, they have accomplished the task that this person has done, and maybe that much more, but because they don't have the status or background, then it's almost like when they do something, then it's like, poo-poo, it's not that important. But then when, like I said, this other person that already got these, official letters, so to speak, then they get all the acknowledgement in the world and the treatment and the honors and things of that nature. See, and according to God, he doesn't work that way, as the one scripture mentioned about Jesus just says that, they don't have that type of biasness. So the point is, when they do single out and honor somebody individually or what have you, they know what they're doing, you see, and you don't see them being afraid of honoring one of their own creations who, we could never measure up to them in a million years. And yet God bestows a blessing and honor, you see, even upon different ones at times who pleases him. So with all that said, this is the conclusion of the spiritual warfare topic discussion, because now you're going to see, if you just keep doing the best you can and pray and whatever you learn, like I said, when I said do the best you can, you learn something, you can apply it the best you can. And you're going to see the phenomenal blessings that'll come about for each and every person that does that. But now let's get into this issue with Job. how it was resolved, what God related to every one of them, and then see again Job end result. This is in Job chapter 42, and this is in the New International Version I'm reading from. After I complete this reading, this will conclude the podcast. You have a wonderful day. I'll tell you that now. Job chapter 42. Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. You ask, who is this that obscures my plans without knowledge? Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said, listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you shall answer me. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. After the Lord had said these things to Job, he said to Eliphaz, the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends, because you have not spoken the truth about me, as my servant Job has. So now take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you according to your folly. You have not spoken the truth about me, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shushite, and Zophar, the Naamanite, did what the Lord told them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him in his house. They comforted and consoled him over all the trouble the Lord had brought on him. And each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. And he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. The first daughter he named Jemiah, the second Keziah, and the third Keren-Happuch. Nowhere in all the land were there found women as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father granted them an inheritance along with their brothers. After this, Job lived 140 years. He saw his children and their children to the 4th generation. And so Job died an old man and full of years. In some translations, it basically said he died satisfied. You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.